Hello, listener, and welcome to the Building It Online podcast. Whether you're an established business owner or you're just getting started, we are here to help you build a better online business faster. This is the place where you can tune in and learn from experienced entrepreneurs about what it really takes to grow your business in today's online environment. And be sure to check out buildingitonlinepodcast.com for more expert interviews, key insights, and up-to-date growth strategies to take your business to the next level. Hello, listener, and welcome back to the Building It Online podcast. Excited to have you here again. Today, I sat down with my buddy Calvin to talk about how him and his business partner have been able to grow their SEO agency over the last 3 years to having 46 clients. Now, if you have any kind of client-based business, you might know that having 46 clients is a lot to deal with. And so we're going to talk about how they got started, how they grew their business today, and how they keep clients. We've got some really good nuggets talking about why it's important to focus on what you know, how to build momentum, and one of my favorite conversations about building perceived value versus actual value for your clients. So let's jump into the interview and get started. Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the Building It Online podcast. Brice here, and today I'm on the phone with my buddy Calvin. Calvin is the co-founder of a SEO business based out of Phoenix. And so, Calvin, thanks for being here, man.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me, Brice.
Do you want to just kind of tell everybody a little bit about yourself and the business you run?
Yeah, definitely. So my name is Calvin Aldren. I run a client-based SEO agency, and that's local SEO, it's national SEO, and then we do a little bit of PPC and some web development. And when I say we, it's because I have a business partner, so I'm not a weirdo or anything. I just think of it as we collaborate on a lot of stuff. So if I use the term we, I'm not referring to myself in the plural.
The third person.
Yeah, the third person.
Cool. How did you get started in all that?
So actually, we got pretty lucky. Austin and I were both, Austin's my business partner, and we met off Craigslist. He moved into my apartment, and we were both working corporate jobs that we didn't really like back in the States, out in Scottsdale. Just like pretty demanding corporate jobs, and we knew there's more out there, and I started learning about digital marketing and like the freedom that comes with it. I think that really lured both of us, and yeah, just made a play and got after it. It's a lot of work, but I think it's definitely worth it.
And how long ago did you guys get started?
It was 3 years ago.
Wow.
I think, yeah, our first client was in February of 2017. So coming up on the 3-year mark.
Craigslist really just bringing people together, huh?
Yeah. It's
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's surprising, but
so what were you doing?
Can work.
What were you doing before you got into SEO?
So I was working a sales job for it was a software service, like reverse IP tracking. And then Austin was working for Aetna, doing procurement. And I have a pretty strong sales background, and I think that really helped us in the beginning. Just having sort of boiler room sales experience can be really helpful for this kind of stuff. Because I think, when you're getting started, you want to learn, but at the end of the day, sales are what's going to make you successful. So if you can have like a pretty open mind and just be tactful with sales, you'll be in good shape. Yeah.
That's awesome, man. And did you know anything about SEO going into this? Had you had like some prior experience or?
Nope, not at all. I was watching some videos just on YouTube. I think YouTube is a great platform to learn, really anything. I think YouTube is almost better. Like I bought a book called The Art of SEO. That was a while back, and no, I would just learn from these different podcasts. So definitely can associate with podcasts, and yeah, like I think it's just a great way to educate yourself. I mean, if you learn from people that are doing it, it's pretty easy. And, listening, I think, is a lot easier than reading as well. So especially about SEO, like hearing people talk about it, it's actually pretty simple. But if you're like reading about it, it can be kind of complex. So
Yeah, no, I hear you, man. I was kind of the same way. Like I mean, I was bartending before I was getting into the digital marketing world, and then just started learning from like courses, YouTube videos, podcasts, and getting into it. And I think that's what's really cool about today is you really have access to all the resources you need with a smartphone and a computer. Like you can get everything you need from there. Then it just becomes really about initiative, like getting out there and teaching yourself and like just going for it, like what you guys did.
yeah, it's so true. It's cliche, but starting is the name of the game. The first day is the hardest. So
yeah. So what's your business like today? How like how big are your clients? Do you have a lot of clients? Do you kind of where are you at now that you've been in it for 3 years?
Yep. So I believe our total client count is 47 right now. So nothing crazy big, but we're pretty spread in the sense that we are working with different industries. So we've got some corporate clients in like the life science space. We have got a couple international clients. So like we're doing SEO for an apartment rental company in Medellin. And then we'll take on local clients like your classic small East Coast rodent control guy that's looking for leads when people have a bat in their attic. So really from the top to the full spectrum. And I think that's been helpful. There's definitely some value in niching down and sticking to one niche, but I think you can keep your opportunities pretty open, and there's just SEO, like every business essentially needs it. So if you kind of just constrict yourself to one niche, there's going to be money left on the table, in my opinion. So yeah, we're up to 46 clients. The vast majority of those are SEO. I would say 92 to 95%. We do some basic web development stuff. If, we take on a client that doesn't have a very good looking site or doesn't work on a cell phone. And I think we have 2 or 3 PPC clients, and that's actually, we're trying to move away from it. So yeah, it's
46 clients is a lot, man. Like that's a lot of people to manage.
It is. Yeah.
So
it's definitely a lot.
Have you guys kind of split up the roles? So, one of you's working clients, the other one's doing operations, or how have you guys found the best way to structure your business now that you're at, 46 businesses to manage?
Yeah, I think that's an important piece of us, and it doesn't seem like there's a lot of this going on, and I think it can be really helpful. So I'll talk about how we started and then how we are now. So in the beginning, I think there's a ton of value in having a partner, because I think in most cases, people, they want to start SEO and, maybe they get a sale, and then they get their first 1 or 2 deals. And then they're like, well, like I need to deliver. I need to get good at SEO and I need to deliver. And the results take it takes a while, especially in competitive niches. So if you do that, you're kind of just going to be going back and forth. And if you get like a bad client, it could really like shake your confidence, and, they might quit. And then you're like, now I have to sell again. So the value in the partnership that we found worked really well initially is, Austin was like, hey, I can do this. I can deliver this. And I was like, I can sell this. And when you separate the two, like I'm not thinking about the operations in the beginning, and he's not thinking about selling in the beginning. It's a really like efficient way to grow pretty quickly off the bat. And we very quickly found out that we can grow much quicker than we would ever lose clients, regardless of how bad the SEO delivery was at first. So I think that's an important piece, because you need to keep your sales churning, and you want to get better at SEO too. And if you can find a way to do both, you're going to be in really good shape. So that's how we started. And now I've got, a fair amount of VAs. We got some web developers, Most of the client management is still done by me. Although our lower paying clients are more on like an automated type service, with like a, maybe one interaction with me per month, tops.
I think that's wicked smart because I've grown my business by myself and I've hired a lot of contractors and people to work on my team, but that switching back and forth from operations and sales is like a really challenging switch to make mentally. People
it's a
say
lot harder
like,
than you would think,
and like so many people tell you like, you should just like sell in the morning and then work on client stuff in the afternoon, but dedicate a few hours every day to selling. But like, that's incredibly challenging because it's not the time that it takes on your calendar. It's the mental bandwidth and the focus of developing an entire sales process and an entire delivery process for what you're selling. And so I really like how you guys split those things out and have it. The fact that you have 46 clients says a lot about how you've been able to really focus on sales and how your partner has been able to focus on making sure your clients are getting results so they stick around. And I like that you said, you guys can sell faster than they fall off. Like if you can do that, you've got a growing business.
Exactly. You learn that pretty quickly. Again, regardless of how your SEO is, or any of the services you offer. So if you can grow faster than you can die, then you're going to be in good shape regardless, and you're going to learn and you're going to get better. But yeah, man, the switching back and forth thing, it's really, really hard. I can relate to it. And I think momentum is one of the most powerful things. Like when you're in a good state of flow, or like you have good momentum with your operations, like to be pulled out of that and then make some calls, and vice versa, to be like in a really good sales groove and then have to switch to this like account management type style. It can be pretty, it's really tricky. Like it sounds like it would be pretty straightforward, but I think you nailed it. The mental bandwidth, it can take a toll on you, and I can see it causing a lot of problems for people when they start out. Because there's so much, you feel like you need to deliver. You've got this new client, you want to deliver your services, but if you stop throttling your sales, it's just going to be you're going to be spinning your wheels. You're going back and forth. So
the old just running back and forth between two different goalposts, but you're not, fully investing your energy in moving a needle in either direction.
Exactly. Exactly.
Well, cool, man. And so what have been some of the biggest things that you have found? Like, do you have some tips? You're on the sales side of things. Do you guys have some things that you've learned over the years about how to sell digital marketing service that you feel like has really helped you guys be able to grow that fast?
Yeah, definitely. So I think digital marketing is actually a lot easier to sell than most people would think. I was selling this software product, like reverse IP tracking, before I got into it. And when I started learning about SEO and like really the value it can have for a client, I was like, wow, I can, this is, it's a pretty appealing service. If you can just explain it to the client and they can understand what exactly it is. I think there's a lot of business owners that don't really understand SEO, but if you can just explain to them how it's going to make them money, it's actually a pretty easy service to sell. And, I think that goes for almost all digital marketing services. If you're confident, and you can explain how it's going to make them money, it's actually a pretty easy sell. So yeah, I can get into like our processes if you want, or, we started just cold calling, and, actually have learned to found that, cold email outreach is our strongest selling point right now, just because of the volume you can get with that.
Okay. So you guys mostly do outreach to get your clients. It's not like an inbound process.
Yeah. So outreach is just much more efficient. I mean, inbound, you don't want to just put your feet up and wait for leads to come in. We do get a fair amount of inbound leads, but they tend to be they tend to be like less affluent clients, is what we found. They'll be really random niches. For example, like we had a piano teacher, like reach out to us, and it just was a horrible fit. So, I think outreach is pretty important to keep your engine running, and there's got to be some sort of system in place for outreach if you're trying to bring on more clients. Otherwise,
makes a lot of sense, man.
Yeah.
Then you can really choose who are the people you want to reach out to instead of just saying who comes into you.
Exactly. Yeah. So you can pick your niche and say, hey, let's target doctors in Phoenix. And, if you email 100 doctors in Phoenix about SEO and you don't sound like a robot, you're probably going to get 2 to 3 responses. So you can take those and run with it. You'll be in good shape.
Just play that numbers game.
Numbers game, volume.
Like it. So what do you guys do once you get a client on board, especially if you're working with like doctors, local businesses? I know in my experience working with local businesses, they can be very finicky clients. I'm on the PPC side. I'm excited to ask you why you guys decided to get out of PPC. But first, let's go into this. You're bringing on new clients. Like, what is some of the things that you guys can do? I know SEO takes time. What are some things you guys do to bring a lot of value to your clients early so they want to keep paying you every month?
Yeah, definitely. So there's some really simple on-page SEO tricks, like just making quick adjustments. And that's what we did early. And that helps a lot. So basically what I'm referring to, and if your listeners know like what a title tag is. So basically a really easy way to get a quick win for SEO and basically just prove to the client that you can do what you say you do is take a look at their pages, take a look at how their website's ranking for different keywords, using a keyword tool. And if you can find a keyword that's fairly non-competitive and they're, maybe sitting like 15th or 12th, like, that means like top of the second page or whatnot. If you can adjust that page, and oftentimes this is really simple to do, you can just adjust an H2, turn it into an H1, or adjust the title tag to match the keyword. And then, Google recrawls the site about every 48, 72 hours. So like within 3 days, you could see like a bump to, if they're in 12 and it's uncompetitive, you could see a bump from like 12 to 7. So that then all of a sudden they're on the first page. And in less competitive niches is even more than that. Sometimes you can bring them to first with an on-page switch. So doing that, I mean, it doesn't really scale. It's not like a systemized process, but I would do that in the beginning and just say, hey, like, 3 weeks, you sell them SEO. Most people understand SEO takes time. And if you hit them with a phone call, like 3 weeks into the campaign, like, hey, like your first page now for this keyword, and then it's like, oh, okay. Like you create that perception immediately that you can do what you say you do. And I think that buys you a lot of time, which is kind of what you need in SEO. Because if you kind of just do all this fundamental research and you do a technical audit and you create a plan, like it's good stuff, but they might be edgy, like you said, and 8-10 weeks into it, they're like, well, what's going on here? Like what's the progress been? And that can sometimes be tricky because sometimes the site will even backtrack in the first couple months, depending on what Google's doing. So I think just doing little things like that, like small adjustments, and just creating the perception that you can do what you say you do is really important.
Yeah, I think, even if you're not in the SEO business, I think anyone who runs any kind of client services can learn from that, because I've experienced the same thing in my PPC business where it's like I used to get clients and then I would go do a bunch of great work for them and feel super accomplished. And then in like 6 or 7 weeks, they would be wanting to talk about changing. And I'd be like, why? Like, we've been doing such great work for you. But what I realized was they didn't know that because I wasn't communicating that value to them. So even now, just when things get started, I understand, in a client-based business, like the first 90 days of that relationship are so critical into really establishing yourself as like, hey, you've made a great decision. You're working with the right people and we're going to be able to get you results. So just feeding them little things like, hey, we got your campaigns up and you got your first sales coming in today. Like little things
Yep.
like that really go
Little.
a long way, because then they go, oh yeah, like okay, now I'm in the right spot. Like I've got someone good. Because so many people are just worried that, people are, the truth is, like, a lot of people are worried that, like, they didn't hire the right people. They're not going to get results. They're kind of looking for how it's going to go wrong. And if you can show them quickly, like, hey, we're getting you results and we got your back, then they start to get comfortable and they're happy to stick around until you can provide bigger results.
You're spot on with that. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Like communication is so important. Some of our best SEO projects where we've taken the site and they've just skyrocketed in like 2 months, they'll drop, and we're like, I'll be like, why are you dropping? Like your results are incredible. Like we've done such a good job here, and it's just the communication. It's like a communication error on our part. The perception that we're not doing what they expected, I suppose. So that's been really eye opening to see. Sometimes even when you deliver great results, the client will drop if they don't trust you, or if they don't, if there's just not enough communication about what's going on. And communication's hard to scale, man. So
yeah,
just trying to find a quick way as soon as you can to prove that you can do what you say you do is important. Definitely.
Something I talk about a lot with people, and I think that it's so true in any business that you run, is actual value versus perceived value. This is true if you have clients. This is true if you have an information product. This is true if you do high ticket coaching. Like, providing a lot of actual value is super important, but the value that's perceived is not the same thing. And so making people like see the value you're providing by providing quick wins, providing a good user experience, anything like that is perceived value. It doesn't even actually like add to the results of what you're, if you're selling SEO, like it doesn't always have to be the actual SEO rankings. It can be, yes, the communication, the UX, like the user experience, the ease of onboarding. All of those things increase the perceived value of a service. And that's huge. Like, that's so important to consider when you're running a business and you're trying to sell stuff.
It is, man. It's so important. I can't emphasize it enough. Another like little thing I'll do is, so like SEO and reviews, they're not really correlated, but sometimes if like a local business, they have their GMB, right? So maybe the GMB could use some more reviews. And another quick thing I'll do sometimes is, if we onboard a client, I'll just create a link for them. I know Google actually, like, they stopped using their link shortener, but you can use like Bitly or any of these hyperlink services. And basically it's a link that if they send to their clients and the client clicks the link, it takes them right to the GMB and right to their review page. So they're like, wow, like, okay, like this is, I didn't know how to do this. This is a really helpful way to just send people to, most business owners really care about their reviews, and they want to build up their reviews. And if you give them a simple way to do that, they're going to be pretty happy, even if it's not marketing related, really. I mean, it's you could call it marketing related, but it's not SEO related or PPC related. So yeah, just perceive value, little things like that, where they're just like, wow, like, thank you. That can do wonders for you in the relationship.
Definitely. And for anyone who doesn't know what GMB is, that's the Google My Business page, right?
Yep, the Google My Business page. So when you search for a business, usually you see on the right-hand side a little, it's on the side of the SERPs, and it has the reviews, usually a picture, usually a phone number. And anytime you look for a restaurant or something, you're looking at the GMB if it's off Google. So
cool. So one last question for you, man. Like, what do you guys kind of see as the future? You got started 3 years ago. You were trying to figure out how to sell and deliver SEO services. Now that you have 46 clients, like, what are the challenges that you guys face today, and how are those different than what you were experiencing before?
Yeah, it's a really good question. There's definitely a lot of growing pains with SEO. And I think our biggest challenge is that the project management and task tools, and so SEO at the end of the day, it's just a set number of tasks, right? So there's a bunch of different tasks that you need to do for the client to improve the SEO, and to manage that on a month-to-month basis in a project management system, is really difficult. We're using Airtable, Process Street. Those are the two big ones right now. But it's hard to scale because you have to, when you're hiring VAs, they have to jump ships. They have to go back and forth. And as we kind of touched on earlier, that's not ideal, especially if you're hiring offshore. Like if you're hiring offshore, you want these people, you want to just give them like, hey, these are the tasks that you need to do, and this is how you do them. And they ideally they stay on one platform, and they're just able to go through them each day and knock them out. And we haven't been able to find a good enough tool to really like put SEO all into one. So we're actually working on developing a software that can do it, that can like blend Airtable and Process Street together, so that all the deliverables and anyone working on SEO for us is just going to be on one platform. So that's kind of exciting. We hope to have that out by like January. So 2 months or so, I think is what we're looking at. But yeah, that's definitely the hardest. Like we could sell SEO and scale it, but at the end of the day, the clients are we don't feel we can deliver a service at scale right now. Like if we had 100 clients, it would be a headache. So I think that's the biggest growing pain that we have right now. And hopefully we'll sort it out. Another thing, I know you wanted to touch on this. It's why aren't we doing PPC? And this is something I'd also recommend. So at first, when you're starting out, you're going to take calls, and people are going to be curious about other marketing, and be like, oh, well, like what do you think about Facebook, or what do you think about PPC? And in the beginning, you're like, oh, like this is an opportunity to make more money. Like we can offer this service and we can learn it just like we did with SEO. But we tried that. We were doing like Facebook ads for an e-commerce business. We were doing PPC, and it just goes back to like, it's spreading your brain power thin. So like, if you focus on one of the services like PPC and just say, okay, I'm good at this. Like, let's just sell this. You're going to end up being better at PPC than if you were working on all of them. And that'll make your clients more happy. So by focusing in on one, your clients are going to get a better service, and it's just going to be better vibes, across the agency. And I know some people might disagree, but that I feel pretty strongly about, stick into what you're good at. And the more you spread yourself thin, the more work it's going to be. And it's going to be a lot more stress, and it's going to be a lot harder to scale. So we're shooting to scale SEO, client SEO. And, hopefully once we're on this new platform, it's going to enable us to really manage and just bring on more clients at like a much quicker rate than we're able to now.
That's awesome, man. It's exciting to hear that your SEO agency is kind of growing into another software that hopefully one day we might see out there in the world. If it's we'll awesome.
Yeah.
And
that's the hope.
And yeah, dude, I'm a PPC expert, and trying to spread thin into getting into other things like, we've done email marketing and built funnels and done some automation for people, and got into these other things that kind of go along with it. But every time we do that, it's just like we're reinventing a wheel that we already invented.
Yes.
Like, let's not do this at all, and just do the thing that we already know how to do, have systems how to do, have processes, have trainings on. Like, we're really good at PPC. When someone needs an email series, let's let someone else do that. And let's focus on what we're really good at, because I think it depends on what kind of business you want to build. Like, some people want to have a big agency that offer a ton of stuff and have, all the services and a big team and want to deal with that kind of stuff. Man, I don't want that. I want a core group of really great clients that we can have a really mutually beneficial relationship with, and do what we're really good at. And I want a small, lean team where we can all be remote and, have a nice life and get paid well. And that's what we're going for.
100%. Yeah. I'm with you there. yeah, just especially if you're bigger, like once you have 20 clients, if you're just like, oh, like let's try, Facebook marketing, it's going to be, it's going to be very time consuming. You're going to be banging your head against the wall, and the client's going to, if they're like a nosy client and they're constantly asking for updates and stuff, it's just going to cause a lot of stress, and that'll actually, it'll fold into your PPC side. Like you'll bring that the stress that you're getting from this like random campaign that you're struggling with, you'll kind of bring that into PPC. So that's what we found. PPC was stressful for us. We're like, we're not very good at this. The clients, they'll spend a ton of money and they'll be like, what the heck? And yeah, man, it's just I think goes without saying, if you can focus on what you're good at, your clients are going to be happier, and it's just going to be a better environment, better agency.
I like it, man. Well, cool, dude. This has been a wealth of knowledge. It's super exciting to hear where you and Austin have grown from. And yeah, man, just to kind of close it off, we usually ask a couple of rapid fire questions just to kind of get a few things out there. What's your most recommended book, podcast, or YouTube channel that you like to tell people to check out?
Oh, it's probably How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie.
That's a great one. Classic.
It's a classic. Yeah, it's just timeless wisdom. I think it was written in like 1939. It has a really tacky title. Like I don't like the title. I think a lot of people would look at that like, oh, like How to Win Friends and Influence. Like I don't need to learn how to win friends, but it's a very, very good sales book. It teaches you how to work with people and deal with people. It's a good dating book, honestly. Like, I think it's easier to date if you read it and learn from it. It really is just timeless wisdom. And if you can apply what you read, yeah, that would probably be my favorite and most recommended book. I think that can help anyone out if they read that.
Sweet. And then if you could create a board of mentors, let's say you get to pick 3 business mentors. They can be alive or dead, but you can ask them any questions you want whenever you want. Who would be on that board?
Ooh, alive or dead? Maybe. I'm a big fan of Jordan Peterson right now. Do you know who that is? Or
Jordan Peterson? I mean, I think that's the name of an actor, right?
He's a psychology professor.
Oh, okay.
He's maybe a little bit less known, but just a brilliant guy. I would love him as a mentor. Charles Schwab, I think. I've read a couple of books about him. I think that would be an ideal mentor for sure. And then maybe more in the marketing space. I respect Ryan Stewart a lot. Ryan Stewart's a pretty good digital marketer.
He's one of my top. He's one of my top 3 at the moment.
Yeah, I think he does a great job at just providing value, and he's just seems very likable, and I'd love to get lunch with him. I think it'd be a great relationship to have. He definitely gets it. Knows what he's doing, and he's pretty good at it. Are you in his blueprint group? I'm not. No, I follow him on Instagram though, and I'll watch his. He's doing basically like a startup. He's basically trying to show how to start an agency from scratch and documenting it, and it's pretty cool. I think he's definitely well respected in the space, and I think he's just level headed. I think he's just a cool dude I'd like to get lunch with and learn from. I dig it, man. Well, hit him up. I met him in Medellin one time. Oh, did you? Yeah, he was down there. Nice. Going on to the next thing, favorite places to travel to. You're in Medellin right now, aren't you? Yep, I'm in Medellin. I think Medellin is probably the most underrated city that I've found, and just a really good environment for a startup remote digital marketing agency. And that's for a couple reasons. Well, the weather's great, so it's during like the darkness of winter, that can be kind of tough if you're starting an agency to get up every day and get after it, especially if you're remote. So there's great weather down here, and then it's so affordable. So like I think you could move to Medellin if you had 3 clients paying you $1,000 each. So if you're making 3,000 a month, I think you could be okay. And it's pretty obtainable to just come down here. If you take Ubers, they're going to be like $3. The food is so cheap, and you can live pretty well. We were talking about earlier, like the differences between Europe, and I just like how it's so modern down here. There's some good offices. I'm working out of the WeWork down here right now. There's like a rooftop terrace, and just a really underrated city. People are pretty friendly too.
Yeah, man. I love it down there. I spent a year and a half down there, and it was just, the quality of life was fantastic. You meet such great people. It's got a lot going on. It's got a lot going for it.
Yeah, no doubt. And it's kind of under the radar too. I think like Thailand, like Chiang Mai is a big, there's a big hype around that, but at least in the SEO world.
I don't ever want to live in a place that far away if I have to be on client calls. If you don't have a client-based business, that's cool. But I spend a lot of time on phone calls. I don't want to be up in the middle of the night.
Yeah, if you're client-based, do not move to Thailand. That was probably our biggest mistake. I mean, it's a grind. We did that, yeah. So we didn't know about Medellin, and Austin and I were like, yeah, Thailand. It's going to be the cost of living is going to be so low, and we're going to be okay out there. And we moved out there on a whim. Right after I think we were doing like, I don't know, maybe 8,000 a month in SEO revenue. And it's hard to grow. Working at night, you could do it for maybe 2-3 weeks, but it'll burn you down. Like the third shift too. Like if you're selling SEO and you start at 9 p.m., it's taxing. A lot of Thai Red Bulls.
That's tough, man. Let's get off. We don't want to go back there. Word, man. And last question would be, any final advice for someone out there who's just getting started?
Yeah. For just getting started, I think I brought this up a little bit in the beginning, but at the end of the day, like sales are the most important. And like, it's really important to remember that. And if you spend all your time trying to learn the service, like the delivery process, it's going to take a lot longer. You're really going to delay your prosperity. And also if you're able to bring in sales at like a rapid rate, you're going to be more comfortable. So you're going to have like more resources to spend on tools, and you'll be able to pay for an office, and maybe I think environment, like work environment and living environment are both really important in your mindset. And if you can focus on sales and get to a point of comfort, then that's going to help you be much better. And you're not going to have to be, the scrappy day to day. Like, you don't want to be that business owner that's, really waiting for the next month's, like the next months of clients, like the client revenue to come in. I think that it'll wear you down. And just to focus on sales, like, and if you don't know how to sell, like I would even recommend, especially if you're in the States, like just take a 4-week sales job, like go work for Yelp or like any of those like big like boiler room type sales gigs, and they'll say, hey, like we want you making 60 calls a day, and they'll give you a script, and that'll take you out of your comfort zone real quick. And then if you can sell like a SaaS product, selling a digital marketing service is really easy. In my opinion. So I think, just really focusing on sales, I think is, the best advice I could give to someone that, wants to be successful at this.
I love it, man. I think that's great advice. So how can someone find you online? Where would they go to learn more about you and your business?
Yeah. So I'm on Instagram, Calvin.Alden. We have PhoenixSEOLab.com, so you can learn about me and Austin on there. And hopefully I'll launching a podcast here shortly. Want to interview people like you and people in other spaces that I can learn from and can give listeners value for starting a digital marketing agency. I think it's a really cool space, and it's one of my passions to share information to help people, achieve freedom.
Sounds great, man. Well, thanks so much for coming on, and looking forward to catching your podcast episode.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Brice.
Dude, have a great one, man. Bye-bye.
Take it easy.
One last thing, listener, thanks so much for tuning in. If you like this episode, please be sure to leave us a review on the iTunes, because that's how we can get the word out. And we know that we're doing a good job. We can keep making more of these for you. So hit the subscribe button, leave us a review, and tune in next time for the Building an Online podcast. Have a great day.